Want to know how people are making $10,000 a month without touching a single product? Let me break down the definitive Shopify dropshipping business model so you can get started today without owning a single piece of inventory. My name is Arjun. I'm the founder and CEO of Doula.com, a business in a box for e-commerce that's raised over $13 million of venture capital. And I'm going to explain how Shopify dropshipping works and give you the passive framework, which is the exact framework we've seen thousands of founders use to go from zero to first sale to 10,000 to 100,000 plus in revenue. Let's start with explaining the business model. Shopify dropshipping is a model where you don't actually own the inventory or the product. That is owned by a retailer or a supplier who has the inventory and has the product. When a customer then places the order on your website, the order is then sent directly to the customer. So you don't have a warehouse, you don't even need to manufacture the product, someone else can do it. But typically the way this works is you have a product that a supplier or warehouse has, you then charge a markup on your website, and then when someone places the order, you take that margin and the product is sent to the customer. Typically, people will run paid traffic or create organic content to promote their product, and then you at the end of the day keep the difference between the cost to market, the cost to buy the product, and then your margin. So you're keeping that difference at the end of the day, and that's your profit. The beautiful thing here is it's a very low barrier to entry to get started. There's no warehousing, there's no fulfillment that you need to worry about. That's handled by your supplier. All you have to do is pick a product, drive traffic to your product, and people have to purchase. And there's a framework I want to share, the passive framework, which is what we've seen thousands of entrepreneurs use to scale successfully on Shopify. Let's dive in. First, you need to pick a niche. You can't sell 100 products off the bat. You need to pick a single product that solves a specific user's needs. Now, there are so many examples of products that can be selected. I want to share an example of a product I've seen someone successfully scale. And the example was one of those head scratchers. Again, that might sound absurd, but they created really good organic short form content. And someone thought, oh, my head sometimes gets itchy. It solves an actual problem. So again, that's such a trivial example, but you can dropship anything from a head scratcher to, I know people who've dropshipped saunas. Yeah, an actual sauna, which is a higher ticket offering. At the end of the day though, you just need to make sure that you pick a single niche and it solves a specific problem. In this case, head scratcher solves the problem of my head is itchy, and a sauna solves the problem of I want to improve my health, or I want a place to relax, or I like getting hot. Next up in the passive framework is you need to assemble the store. Now, the beautiful thing is Shopify makes this incredibly easy. There are out-of-the-box themes you can choose on Shopify to spin up your website. Think of the store on Shopify as your physical storefront, but instead of it being in person, it's going to be online. The next step in the passive framework is source your products. So now you need to actually go and find suppliers that have the product you want. Now, again, this is the beautiful part of the model. You do not need to go and build a head scratcher or build a sauna. You can find a supplier who manufactures this already, and then you can distribute and sell that product on their behalf. Now, there are some tools like ZenDrop or AutoDS that you can use to find and source products. And again, the beauty here is that the money you make is going to be the difference between the price it costs to buy this product, the price you charge, and then you also have to add on any additional costs for marketing that you might be spending on. The next S is setting up high converting funnels. If you think about it, anytime someone sees your ad or sees your content and then comes to your website and then enters your checkout flow and then decides whether or not to purchase, that's a funnel where unfortunately 100% of people who make it to the first stage, hitting your website or watching your content, aren't going to make it through to purchase. Typically, the best e-commerce businesses will have between a 5 to 10% conversion rate, which is actually really good. So you can work your way up there. But if you hear that, yes, that's right. It means if 100 people hit your website, only 5 might convert, and that's really good. So the thing here that's very important is to set up a high converting funnel. You can only manage what you measure. So keep track of how many impressions are my ad getting, and then how many people are visiting my website, how many people are then entering my checkout flow, and then how many people are ultimately converting. This way you can debug and figure out where the biggest breakage is happening. For example, let's say many people are hitting your checkout page, but not converting. You could add some social proof or a testimonial or say money back guarantee to get more people to actually purchase. Next up in the framework is ignite with paid traffic. This is the beautiful thing about paid traffic. It's a very, very strong dial you can turn to get more eyeballs. Now, the thing though I'd say is that before you really turn the dial, you need to make sure you have a funnel that's working. Otherwise, you're sending traffic and paying for that traffic into something where people aren't even going to come through and purchase. Now, you can do this specifically through Facebook ads or TikTok ads, but the key here is going to be volume and win rate. You need to test a high volume of creative and ads, and then you need bangers, ads that are going to convert at a high rate. And the only way to do this is by testing your hook, testing the meat of your ad, testing what the main cover image looks like, testing what the call to action is. You really have to test a ton of creative. And then when you find your winners, that's when you can turn the dial. Another hack here I've seen is that many people have found that their top organic content, you can just simply take that and run it as paid ads. So if you're running on a low budget, just start creating organic content, posting that on TikTok or Instagram. And if that starts to resonate, you can then take that creative, which you created for free, just your time, and then spend paid ads on it. Next up is V, validate with data. We talked about data when it came to setting up a high converting funnel, but in this case here, this is where it's so important to know how much are you spending on ads, and then what is the ROAS, the return on ad spend? Because if you can put $1 in and get $4 back, that's incredible. But maybe you're getting $0.5 back, you're losing money. So this is where it's really important to actually track and measure how your ads are doing so that you can invest in the winners and cut the losers fast. Again, this part of the process can be hard. You might have spent 4 hours creating what you thought was the perfect TikTok or the perfect Instagram reel. But if the ROAS isn't there and the conversions aren't there, you have to go with the data. Don't let your emotions override the data. And then the last step, E, is expand and automate. Once you have one product working, this is where you can start to automate processes, systems, the way you build your creative. Maybe you use an AI tool to help optimize your scripts. Maybe you hire a virtual assistant to help you with customer support so you can spend more time on creative. Maybe you hire a creative strategist who can actually oversee the entire testing process. So there's more volume and there's a higher win rate on your ads. Maybe at this point you decide, hey, the saunas are selling well, let's start selling cold plunges and build a health brand. Again, this is the exciting part where once you have one product and one niche dialed in, you can start to expand the team and the products. That is the definitive Shopify dropshipping business model and the passive framework, which is the exact framework we've created after watching thousands of entrepreneurs successfully go from zero to first sale to scale on Shopify. And if you yourself are scaling a Shopify dropshipping business or are looking to get started, Dule is the ultimate business in a box. We help you not only start your LLC so you can get set up on Shopify and get Shopify payments activated, but we help you with your bookkeeping and taxes too. So if you are looking to launch or level up your Shopify dropshipping business, head to Dule.com. You can schedule a demo. We would love to be a small part of the journey. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you found value. If you did, please like and subscribe, turn on notifications. We drop content like this on the regular. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next video.